What's up, YouTube? I want to make a prop Paladin guide for BFA. This is going to apply for both pre-raid and for when raid comes out, I think. But some of the stuff for during raid will be up to judgment for when the stuff actually comes out, like the trinkets and stuff, because you never know if they could like nerf anything. But let's get started with a Mythic 0. And I'll show you step by step on what you should run. For M0, what gear I have right now, and the reason why I use it. So for talents, I'm going to be running Holy Shield, First Avenger, Blind Light, Spell Wording, Divine Purpose, Hand Protector, and Sanctified Wrath. The reason why I run this is so I can have magic resist, and it deals a good amount of damage. It's way better than these two. Like, this is just trash. This is underperforming. This is underwhelming. It's really not that good. This is a guaranteed, like, you have to take it for M+. Like, this isn't good because you don't need judgments. And I'll get to that later of why you don't want to throw more than one judgment at one person. And then there's this one that's just not good because, like, that's just terrible. This is a big cooldown for no reason. But the haste priority, or the stat priority for Prop Paladin, is a haste verse. Because you want... Prop Paladin has always been like a haste dependent class. So of course you want to go haste. But I choose verse because it's a raw number of damage and damage reduction. Overall, I think it's really good for both PvP and Mythic Plus, because you get to swap between the two for completely free, like for gear set priority. Like, crit is really not that good. All it is just a little bit of extra damage and a little bit of parry chance. You don't really parry that much as a Paladin anyway. Paladin, I mean, yes, you do parry, but it's mainly about blocking with your shield to proc that Grand Crusader, which gives you shield. And when you run, if you run this in PvP, it grants you a charge of judgment. So if you haven't noticed already, I'm using the legendary, the Righteous Glory legendary, where each target hit by Avenger's Shield increases your damage of Shield of Righteous by 30% for each target hit, up to stacking up to 5 times. So it's like 120% increased damage off Shield of Righteous, and Shield of Righteous gets 6-yard increased radius. As you can see, it's pretty big damage. Like, they already nerfed Shield of Righteous because of that. And they nerfed it like before the patch even came out, before Shadowlands even came out. And I'll show you what it looks like right here. I chose haste verse obviously because you know, those are the best stats. Right now I'm trying to replace these boots, this ring, well, mainly the ring because not because of stats, but because of item level. And then I'm trying to replace this for both item level and for stats. But right now I bought it because it was from the PvP vendor. I do PvP. And so I had like a free chance of getting the higher item level piece than what I already had. So it worked really, so far it's working really well in my favor to have bought it. Just for the sake of having item level and raw stats, like from like your base stat, strength, and stamina. Oh, and for the other talents, I use Blind Light because it's not just a disorient, but it works as good for an interrupt if you think about it. Like, Prop Paladins already have a bunch of interrupts. What's not good about having another one, right? Plus, it's CC. Like, it is a disorient. Like, you have to remember that. It is extremely powerful for M+. Because, look, I just canceled that Blade Storm with a Blinding Light. Oh, I should have saved Arcane Torrent, because I could have easily just used Arcane Torrent there for both of those targets. Using my Trinket with my wings here to gain extra damage. Sorry about that, guys. I have niece and nephew in the background. Oh, that's so awesome. The priest just gave me Paints Up and the haste buff. The haste buff meaning power infusion. And that's really huge for Prop Valley to have. Oh, I should have saved Hammer of Justice for that. Okay, we'll use Lay on Hands. You never want to bubble anymore. Like last expansion, you always took this for M+, because it was on an easy road to take it on. Where it was just way better than the others. I don't know how that interrupt didn't go through, but... We take Divine Purpose. Oh yeah, let's go to the other talents. So you take Blessing, Spell Wording, because Spell Wording is way better. Like in most situations, you want to avoid magic damage. And Spell Wording doesn't reduce your aggro. Like, Blessing of Protection does. Blessing of Protection straight drops your aggro. Like, it is not good to have because of that. Granted, I've had times I've had to use it, like for Necrotic Week. Well, I still don't even use it then. I just have, if I need Bop, I just bring another Paladin to the group to give me Bop, and then I still have Spell Wording. Because Spell Wording is also a lesser cooldown by 2 minutes. And like I said, most situations, like for Prop Paladin, it's all about sustaining from magic damage more than anything. Physical damage is also very important too, don't get me wrong. Like you can just get easily chunked by big physical damage like melees, but that's if you're not careful. Like you have to make sure you're standing inside your concentration for easy damage taking reduction. And keeping Shield Righteous up, which is really easy this expansion, because Shield Righteous costs Holy Power instead of just having charges with CDs. Okay, this is in a weird spot. This boss is in a weird spot. We're gonna move this way. And then I take Divine Purpose, because overall it performs better than having Seraphim. Because you have to, like, as a tank, we can't really afford to rack up Holy Power for Seraphim. We need to keep our Shield Righteous up, or have it or have Holy Power readily available for Word of Glory if we need it. So on an opening pull, you should throw out your Judgment, your Avenger's Shield, and if you don't have Wings active, you will use your Hammer of the Righteous to get your third Holy Power for your Shield Righteous. If you have Wings active, you can throw out Judgment and a Shield, and then you'll have your Shield Righteous active. And then Judgment is such a light cooldown, we have Haste built up on your gear, so you will have a bunch of Holy Power overall on your burst when you have Wings active. So it does increase your damage by a lot overall to have more haste and to take that talent Sanctified Wrath, because not only does it generate another Holy Power from your Judgment, but your wings last 5 seconds longer, which is huge. And I think that's gonna be like the best talent overall, even for PvP. But don't quote me on that yet, because I might still like toy around with it for Arena. For when Rated comes around. If I play Prot in Arena this season. I'm thinking between Prot Pally and Havoc Demon Hunter for this season. Probably going to be still playing Prot Pally, not gonna lie, because it's like my main. my class, of course. But I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun with Havoc Demon, so we'll see. But what I just did there, as if you noticed, I threw Judgment twice on the same target. You never want to usually do that, unless you're starving for your cooldowns, in order to gain an extra holy power. That's the only reason I did it, was for holy power. But in most situations, you will have more than one target, so always prioritize the other target if you have Judgment already active, so you just need that holy power. I'm sure I'll run into an instance where I'll run into that weird issue, where I'll have to throw on another target, so that way I can show you guys. But for now, let me just tell you why Hand Projector is better. Hand Projector, you have to remember, you're a prot Paladin. You're of course going for your own survival, but you're also a big support for the group. You provide a lot of utility, a lot of healing, and a lot of self-sustain. The strengths of a prot Pally are those exact things alone. Is that you're a healer for your group, and then you have a decent self-sustain with your shield from your first Avenger, and then your shield righteous. And that's pretty much all you have, other than your Royal Glory heal, which you get a free one every 5 shield righteous spent, which is really good for the class, for our class. And I'm so glad that Blizzard did that, because otherwise it would be insanely hard to balance out your heals and your shield righteous, like whenever you need it, sort of thing. And you don't even have to use it for yourself, you can also use it on other people. So on protection spec, your healing is increased by up to 250% of your missing health, unless you take Hand Protector. Then that healing increase is also effective on other players, so off of their missing health, not your missing health. Just remember that. You don't need your health to be missing to do more healing on the other people. And for our race, we choose Blood Elf because I just like playing Blood Elf, but also we get increased crit, which isn't bad, and then we have Arcane Torrent, which is really good. So our Arcane Torrent is definitely helpful for both mana, for all three things: holy power, mana, and a dispel. Like, you can be super aggressive as a Blood Elf prot Pally because of Arcane Torrent. I think that's the whole point of playing Blood Elf, is to be aggressive as fuck. And then, well, you can be aggressive as a Torrent too, because they get extra stamina, so they can be more defensive to be more aggressive, and then you have a AoE stun. But I think I value this over the stun. Not by much, but it's definitely valued more for me. Let's make sure we're out of that. Make sure we interrupt that. So anyway, for gameplay wise, now let's talk gameplay for a minute. So that was really good, by the way. So if you have a Warlock in your group and you're running the other side, have him do that. Put a gateway down from one side to the other, and then you just completely negate Leapfrog. Anyway, we can pull more. Like, we can definitely handle more in the prot Pally. We're gonna always try to pull at least 5 mobs, because you'll gain your maximum benefit from your first Avenger and your legendary, because your legendary caps at 5 targets. But it deals a lot of damage. As you can see, we're number 2 on the meter bump, just racing for number 1 the whole time. Because our Shield Righteous and our Avenger Shield deal so much damage. Now, if you're in an instance where you have 4 targets, throw out Avenger Shield, then Divine Toll, and then you'll have your 5 targets. Well, no, throw your Divine Toll, just in case you get a proc. But also, Divine Toll will instantly make it so you hit 5 targets, because the 5 targets hits also bounces to each other. Meaning, you will always get your 5 targets no matter what. So save your Avenger Shield cooldown, and throw out your Divine Toll on pull if you need the burst healing from your shield. And then you have an instant 5 Holy Power, and your maximum benefit from your Priest Avenger, and your Bulwark of Righteous Glory. Now I chose the Bulwark of Righteous Glories for a lot of reasons. One of them being you can hardly replace the shoulder at the moment with any good substitute for haste verse. Another reason being its main stat. And then thirdly, because it looks fucking awesome. Alright, so this guy's not getting soaked by many people. Anyway, for trinkets, let's discuss what are best trinkets to computer raid, and what trinkets are good for when raid comes out. So right now, I have the PvP one that gives raw haste from the gear, and then it gives you a main stat on this use ability, which is a low cooldown, which is really good actually. Like, it gives you damage, gives you healing from your Word of Glory, and more damage from your shield means more absorb, which is really good for proc Paladin right now in its current state. And then the other trinket I have on that comes from Spires of Ascension, which drops a area on the floor, which grants you haste, which the area is bigger than what you might expect, therefore making it very effective for playing the game. Like in most situations, like other than PvP, it's really good. Like for M0, usually you're gonna stand in one general area anyway, unless you're stepping out of something for a second. That 233 haste bumps me from 17% haste to 25% haste, which again is very, very effective. It's very, very good. You definitely want to have it. And then the other trinket that I'm going for right now on the other side, it's oh shoot, where do I go? Oh, I go down here. I'm gonna go for this one. I want to see how well it performs just from using it, because I haven't gotten on any character yet out of my 260s. And I just want to see what it's like as a tank, to see if it's worth it using it in every situation or not. Whether I should focus on getting that from M+, or if I shouldn't focus on getting it from M+, you know what I mean? I'm definitely going to be getting this for PvE content from M+, for Spires. And then I'll keep upgrading this until Raid comes out. Until Mythic comes out, I think. Maybe Heroic trinkets are going to be good. But let's actually look at Raid trinkets right now together. Let's go all slots, hit trinkets. There we go. Nice, I got 2 life grips. Big grips, big grips. So make sure we use a trinket before we throw a Divine Toll, because we get more damage from each of the Avenger's shield, for more shield. Also, it buffs our everything overall, like I said. So if we need a heal, buffs our raw numbers up. Buffs our damage to make their health hit 0 before yours does, dude. And that's very important to know. The most basic game tip that you'll ever hear, dude. Make sure their health hits 0 before yours does. Also, I don't know how this will be. Doesn't seem good for us, I don't think. But for raid purposes, maybe that's good because, well, you can combine it with Blessing of Sacrifice. So it's a 20% damage or 30% damage reduction for your other tank, plus that raw number from that trinket. So I'm going to see how that is, if like from my guild's tanks, because I'm not raiding on my Paladin actually. I'm raiding on my Havoc Demon Hunter. So I'll just keep a close eye out for what they use, just out of sheer curiosity. But this, okay, that's obviously not it. Let's go here, so we don't have to look at holy stuff. This looks really good, just for the lifesteal, the raw damage. Like for M+, that's going to be most likely a must-have for us. I want to see how well it performs though, like before I make any like judgments of it. Like I don't want to tell you guys to get that before it even comes out, and other triggers are outperforming that one. So we'll see on that. I might even give an update on this video to follow up after the raid comes out, just so you guys know like what to run. I should probably include the fact that I am an experienced Paladin, because and I say that because I hit 4K, 4,000 Radar.io score, so I have legitimate experience in Mythic Plus. In the game in general, I've been playing Prop Paladin for years, like at least ever since Legion, like I would say the beginning of Legion or so. That's how long I've been playing Prop Paladin. I forgot to include that at the beginning of the video, but I think it's an important detail to note. It's for my reasoning behind like my explanation. It gives me a little structure behind my explanations for why I think the way I do, so on and so forth. Anyway, this is going to be really good. The sheet music trinket, because it not only gives like movement speed's alright, but I don't care about the movement speed. I care about the haste that you get. 98 haste from 4 things. Each one gives you 98 haste and 55 speed for 20 seconds? Yeah, 20 seconds. It's a minute 30 cooldown. So the uptime is already like going to be looking good for us. And in most situations, you're going to be able to move freely like that. Anyway, like in M+, you're going to be able to move. Like you want to move usually. Like for that. I screwed that one up, I just wasn't paying enough attention. But, I'm gonna see how well that performs compared to the Spire trinket that I mentioned before. That I currently have on. And then, so to get out of that, I tried moving out of it, it didn't work. I wanted to see how well that would work again. But always save a Divine Steed for when he does his AoE Fear, because he just sucks you in, and it's otherwise impossible to get out unless you get a life grip. So if you're in a 5-man group, you have a priest in your group, like a Disc Priest or Shadow Priest. No Holy Priest, because Holy Priest is useless, but no, jokes aside, you want if you have a priest in your group and you guys are coordinated, go ahead and use a life grip to get out of that if you don't have any charges of steed left. Because I imagine a fortified key, that's going to be very important to get out of, especially in pulls like that where we pull more than 5 targets, and it's like already hard to hold aggro. Well, harder for most tanks. So that's another strength of Prop Paladin, is that we are stronger than other tanks in holding aggro. At least I think. Other than, with the exception of like Brewmaster Monk and maybe Prot Warrior. I think Prot Warrior is not doing the worst, but I haven't seen an exceptionally good Prot Warrior that could outperform a Protection Paladin in terms of holding threat, raw numbers overall, and then like DPS numbers overall, having self-sustain and group utility. So, something to remember when you're a Prot Paladin in a Mythic Plus, that you are mostly there for utility. Like, sure, you do some good raw numbers, but you are there to carry the group for utility. Like, you are the carry. Like, you gotta remember that. So, what that means, what I mean by utility is that we are big on heals, damage reduction from other people, like either raw percent damage reduction or immunities. So spell warding is really good for helping other people because usually most mechanics that people get hit by are magic damage. Alright, so it's usually unavoidable, or you know, you see them getting like a nasty dot that they can't be dispelled because maybe you were just dispelled by accident. And then you just substitute it with your spell wording. And then your DPS who has that nasty dot is living long and prosper because you provided them an immunity. And if you don't have the immunity up, just use Sacrifice, and then you pump heals into them with Word of Glory. But otherwise, you should be good to go. And that is going to be very effective for instances like pugs, because pugging, you never know what's going to happen with people getting hit by abilities, or who the healer wants to do the spell, because different healers perform differently, of course. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but it's like for right now, like if that was gonna go off, I would have used spell wording on myself because I got hit by that, and then just let other people use the bomb.
Them brokers be up to something. You best be keeping an eye on them. Now hurry back with them mojo.
Make sure we take that to go back up. Alright, let's talk trinkets again. So this is going to be most likely really good to have. I don't know how well it's going to perform overall for uptime compared to this trinket. This trinket procs very, very often. Like, you have an insane uptime in dungeons, and I feel like it's going to slightly outperform the one rate, but we will see for when we actually take it to practice. This trinket, not really that good. Let's be real here. 17,000 damage, not that much. And getting healed for the shield amount, that sounds cool and all, but your shield is not going to last, and the cooldown of it, it's 1 minute, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But it's going to be easily, it's going to get eaten through. Like, you don't want it. Like, we get, I mean, well, maybe for like single target fights it might be alright. But I think that a large trinket that we're about to look at, this is going to outperform that trinket for single target fights because it prevents a lethal attack. It gives you a big shield and it deals damage. It's an 8-minute cooldown, but it's a cheat death. So think about it. That definitely outperforms the that one right there. I think it outperforms it. I'm not sure though. I guess a lethal thing. And we have a cheat death, but it's on a 2-minute cooldown, so we can work it with that. Alright, we're pulling this. And now that I think about it, this one will actually be better, because that's 37,000 damage from a lethal attack. Granted, it's a lifesaver, but you can use this as a lifesaver as well. So let me rephrase that, because this is 17,000 damage for 1 minute cooldown. That one's 37,000 damage for an 8-minute cooldown. So I guess your situation is going to vary. Let's use that. Get away from the boss, hopefully in time. So overall, this is going to be alright, I think. But this one might be better for if you need single target sustain. But this one, so this one's going to be good for single target fights, like where you just get tanking spanked and then the boss just hits really hard. And then this is going to be useful for situations where you can't avoid death. You want some AoE. If there's a strong pack in Mythic Plus that just absolutely wrecks you, and you don't know how to counterplay, you can't counterplay it. And like, I'm sure that will be alright for like damage, but I don't know if I would prioritize using that trinket over this one. Especially Mythic Plus, you don't want to use that trinket, I don't think. You want to be using the haste buff trinkets. Because our main priority for stats is haste. And that's all we really need. On the profile is our haste for survivability. Plus lifesteal from that trinket will probably outperform every other one of these that we're looking at in the raid. So it's all going to come down to practice, really, of how these perform. Let's use both of these cooldowns. Avoiding that mechanic. Getting out of that.
The best hurry. The price don't matter now.
Make sure we get in the portal.
Foolish mortals. Me be the true.
Oh, I got in the wrong one. Let's go over here. Alright, let's look at this trinket though. Versatility by 98, increase to 5% for each legionary in your party. That's not going to be bad at all for raid purposes, because versatility is your second top stat. And versatility overall is a powerful stat to have. So you might want to run that in also arenas, because you can just buff each other with that. Or you can just have some raw versatility. I'm not sure. Some of these trinkets I'm just unsure of because I haven't seen them in practice yet, because they haven't even released yet. But my speculation is that this is going to be really good for the heal and for extra damage, especially on 5 targets. This might be decent for the stats, like the haste. This is good for single target. This is alright. This is probably really good if you stack enough of it. This is bad. Well, no, this isn't bad. This is good if like your other tank is struggling.
Good heroes, yeah. But what Mozilla got coming, yet for mortal eyes. Take your trinkets and be gone with ya.
But for right now, I'm running these two. This is really good, really high uptime. Should definitely consider getting this trinket. Should definitely get this one right now, because it's cheap from the PvP vendor. If you like doing PvP, then it's even better. But for right now, that's my trinket priority, is that you get this, and then when raid comes up, for M+, you get this, for raid, you should get this. Do I need any more dungeons? They're asking. The group is asking if I need more dungeons. Let's see. No, I don't think so, right? Let me see. Alright, so anyway, let's queue PvP so I can get more trinkets, or more, not more trinkets, but more upgrades from my, my wrist. And then also a haste versus ring that I'm going for. Let's actually go to it right now. Let's go to the PvP vendor and look together. Which is right here. Which, if you don't have this weak aura, you should definitely look into it for aura buffs. Because it tells you where everything is. Precisely. Also, alright, so let's look at this.
Everything is
I have 1677 at 15,000. Let's go look for rings. So this is one that we want right here.
Remember, all goods and services for sale.
So you go to this guy to upgrade your item.
May I tempt you with my wares?
As you can see, ring is very cheap for upgrading. And so you won't be able to upgrade to rank 4 yet until renown 7. But for right now, that's a good item level to have.
Always appreciated.
Also, this is a big upgrade. Big upgrade right here. Going from crit verse to haste verse, or haste mastery. Mastery isn't like the best stat, but it's not the worst stat. So that puts me at 20% haste, which is really good to have unbuffed. And then 8% versus, it's not bad, but I still want it to be higher. So of course I'm going to be going for like boots to have haste verse, this to have haste verse, this to have haste verse, which this isn't bad either, because you get haste from it.
For you, I offer all.
But let's see what else is given here. And yeah, belt with haste verse on it too. Oh, I can actually buy these boots like really soon, off of probably the next BG. I'm gonna buy these, upgrade them. Then I'll have more versatility on my gear overall. Like, it'll probably bump me up to 10%.
You struck a hard bargain. Good show.
So we're queued for it already. Did we get the quest done? No, we haven't gotten the quest done. So this week's quest is the Epic Battlegrounds. Which is unfortunate because Epic Battlegrounds are not fun. But when you win an Epic Battleground, you get a lot. So, if you win 3 Epic Battlegrounds in a row, you will get it done, I'm pretty sure. But if you don't win, it'll take you like 5 or 6, which is a long time. I'm just gonna say that right now. It's a long time to get Epic Battlegrounds if you don't win often. Which is not always your fault because you're in groups of 40. And it's really hard to carry a group of 40 people. Versus a Battleground, where as a prop Paladin, we can carry pretty easily. For most situations. For instance, when you capture the flag, or I have the storm, I'll show you your talents that you run for that. You're in Steeds of Glory to run the flag. You don't run this because it will drop your flag, or you won't be able to use it. So you can just use like this if you are getting snared a lot. But you should use this. Shield of Virtue is a very useful talent for PvP situations. Because you will silence the healer and anybody within 8 yards of that target. So if there's people stacked up, like other ranged for instance, like mages, you'll silence them too if they're within 8 yards of the healer. Which is like not bad, but it's not like long. It's a short distance. So don't rely on it for an AoE silence. Use it for healer silence. Or when you're in an arena, use it to silence one and then stun the other sort of thing. So that way you don't overlap on your CC. Also, for battleground situations, especially epic battlegrounds where you're fighting big groups of people, you should probably use this one. This talent right here. But in arena, you should use this one. Because not only is Judgment good damage, but it gives you like a guaranteed like holy power from a ranged ability twice. Like you can get 2 holy power just for throwing judgments, but during wings you throw holy power. If you throw judgment, you gain 2 holy power per judgment. But just remember, never overlap on your holy power because holy power is it's expensive for prop paladin. Also,
Going to kill today.
shut up, dude. I'm trying to talk. Alright. I should add too that for Alliance or for other races, for options of what you want to play for Paladin, of what I think are good and what are not good. Zendalari Troll, I don't know much about their passives, but I don't think they're a bad race at all to play. Other than their unusability being kind of useless, except for in like PvP situations, you can bubble and regenerate. And then for Alliance, I think Human's always going to be the top tier Paladin race. And well, by far because of their stats, the stat gain, their racials, like their racial ability, and then all of that definitely trump the other races by far, except for Dark Iron Dwarf being in like 2nd place for Paladin. Dark Iron Dwarf is a close second because of their on-use racial ability alone, not necessarily their passives. So I would say Human by far is best right now in most situations, except maybe PvE. Maybe Dark Iron Dwarf will be stronger than Human in some areas, but as of right now, Human's looking really good right now. And then for other races like Draenei, Lifeforge Draenei, absolutely useless. I mean, if you like playing Draenei, go ahead and play it. But if you're looking to min-max and use like the best of the best racial abilities, I would not go Draenei or Lightforge Draenei.
What troubles you?
Or if you want to play a Draenei, I would advise going Lightforge Draenei, because that on-use ability is actually kind of fun. And it's not the worst thing in the world, it's just a big cooldown, and I find that not more useful than the Human's cooldowns, or the Human cooldown and their passives. Oh, also, now that we're here, let me show you guys my conduit setup at the moment for Prot. So I actually use this because I value this more in most situations like M+ and PvP. This just seems it's alright, but I would use this one first before using this one. I think this outperforms Punish the Guilty by a ton, just because this procs so often. And the 3 extra casts, especially a multi-target, it's just way more valuable than single target like Shield of Righteous damage. That's it. See ya.